All right, where are we? We're in Wednesday's qualifying round in the rookie division in the Korean Classic tournament. Didn't get to play yesterday. I shot a couple of videos this morning. I shot a practice round on my odd account, and just to kind of go out there. But here's the deal on a lot of these holes. So, in I don't have the same ball inventory in my practice account that I do on my main account. So, I shot a video earlier talking about practice reactions to stuff in the community about the whole practice situation and what people's complaints are about practice. And I need to shoot one on my next one. I'm going to do is on money. I have, since I went back and I watched the video. I posted the practice one, and then after I got done, I was like, shit, there was a whole bunch of stuff I didn't talk about. So maybe today during this round we can talk about some of the stuff. You guys and gals will get bonus content on top of that practice reaction video. And let me know. Go watch that video if you haven't watched it, where I talk about the practice thing and what people are bitching about and what my solution to the problem would be. But I think the game has totally changed. We're not playing the same game that we were playing when I started. A lot of the stuff is the same, but it's a different game. It used to be, and I'm not sure where you'd find that, but it used to be Golf Clash is a dueling game where you're going up against somebody head to head, and now it's a prep for tournament. You get to play by everybody wants to play by themselves. What really cracks me up is the people that bitched about having some way to practice so that we didn't have to go play tour play. Because you used to only be able to practice if you were playing tour play. We didn't have practice. Are now the ones bitching that they got exactly what they wanted. And now they're like, well, we want it to be faster. Well, what you want is you want a solo game. You want a game where you're just the only one playing. We don't ever have to play against anybody. I never have to play against anybody when I'm in practice, and I never have to play anybody when I'm playing in a tournament. I just go out there and shoot my round. Well, what's the deal? You should always play somebody. Every single time you should have to wait to play somebody. And ideally, they'd give us more players and less replays, and they could open it up so that we could get people easier. And then we could play somebody. And we should always have the opportunity to win a chest, even on practice ones. And this is something that everybody should bitch about is even when you practice. I paid a practice token, you paid a practice token. We're out there practicing. One of us should be able to win. If I beat you outright, like maybe they don't want you to go to a shootout because then you get to practice the par 3 for free. Wow, wouldn't that be cool if they gave us a bonus? You get to practice the par 3s for free if you make it to a shootout. So it kind of promotes you to get to the shootout and not like tank the round and do the whole little thing, and you get to practice the par 3 for free. But one of us should have the opportunity to win a chest. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Let's practice here. So this hole, I'm doing an APOC, a Kingmaker. The first time I came out in my practice scouting report, I did 5 topspin, and today I did 6, and 5 put me like right there, and 6 put me right there. So I like the 6. I brought out a Titan, and I didn't use any curl, but a Kingmaker would have worked better. I could have got a little bit closer, and I would have started maybe like a ring more to the left, and then to give myself room to try and bring it around a little bit, but we'll try it out. We will try it. I'm going to take now I get more distance with my APOC, and it ended up being max topspin, which is really weird. When I looked at the thing, it looked like I've got 76 here and it's got 64, so it's like 6.5. It'd be nice to get that to level 7. It's on its way. I only got another year and a half, 2 years. I want to talk about things that you could do to make the game better. I mean, obviously, I don't play as actively as I used to, but I played 30, 40 games a day, almost every day, for the first 4.5 years that this game was out. And, like, I do have my rares up, but, like, the rewards that you get in this game, it really does. Unless you're playing the upper tours where you can max your clubs out pretty quick. If you're just playing and having fun down below, it takes forever and a day to get your clubs up. Forever. And I don't need a Zerk. I was right there. I'm talking. I was thinking about other stuff and just jabbering away. Jab. I have friends that are shooting videos or have shot some videos and was like, hey, should I post this? And it's like, yeah, go ahead and post it. And when you're listening to it and you're listening to me talk, go blabber, But when you're shooting a video, it's totally different. You got to talk the whole time. Like, you know, you can. I have a uncomfortable pause for 3 or 4 seconds where I didn't say anything, and I feel like, oh man, I wasn't saying something. You got to talk almost continuously. You got to have something to talk about. Yep. Here we go. If I can get an opponent. See, we're talking about speeding things up. I can speed things up by opening this up. I'm playing a rookie. Anybody who's playing a rookie. Maybe we're in different brackets as far as the tournament goes. Like I'm in a tier 2 bracket, or you're in a tier 3 and I'm in a tier 2, or I'm in a tier 3 and you're in a tier 1. Maybe we're in different brackets. So we're not playing each other. Like that, a lot of times people will go, well, I played some guy the other day. I was out there on the course and we were playing hole 6 and he had a level 8 APOC. Well, here's the deal. First of all, that might have helped you. Because it might have been one of those holes where they could get it. They maybe have a little bit easier time, or they got more experience and they can get that Albie, and it helps you out that you can get an eagle. But the whole deal is that what are the odds that they're actually in your bracket? Who you're playing out on the course and who you're playing in your bracket are two totally different things. Totally different. That's something that I think a lot of people just don't think about or don't realize. That was a nice shot right at the cup. Right at it. They gave themselves a look. They must have did the rough bump through the... I wasn't paying attention. They charged too much. Dead center. Let's see what it looks like with... There's 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 topspin. If I came out over here so that if I just hit it straight up, it's heading towards the green. 2.9. 2.12 rings. Let's say 2.2. Hitting it perfect. Hold on 1 second. We'll see if they leave a message. I wasn't even paying attention. I was looking at my other phone. Wasn't even paying attention to where I ended up, if I ended up. I don't know if I'm in the good or the bad or what. I don't know where that ended up. I was trying to do 2 things at the same time. And not doing either well. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. All right. Can't get too excited because eagle is the minimum score on that. So we got to get eagle. Gots to get eagle on that. All right, hold on 1 second. All right, that little bit took me an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Jeez, that was a millisecond for you. That was an hour and a half for me. Okay, where were we? What hell? I don't even remember what I was talking about. What we're talking about is hole number 2. Hole number 2. Okay, we got a great opportunity here. Great opportunity to get a hole-in-one. And I think I need to do like 1-to-1 plus 0.1 on this. I was doing, it's at mid club, and I was doing 10%. We'll see. I think one of my teammates sent me some stuff on this. This is another video that I need to shoot. Is talking about wind, but in the past on this, we're up here hitting, and then we're hitting down here, and then it comes up to the pin that's up here. Hitting down into this area in the past was like a plus 10. Might have varied. it really was like less than 15, 12 and a half. You know, you were in that time, that framework. But here in this last tournament that we played, some of the holes that we'd played 10, 15, maybe 20% on were now like 50 or 60%. They've changed the deal. And I'm curious to see if like holes like this, if they're doing that every time they post new holes, or if they're just doing it when they rework and put in new pin placement. And when you go back to the original pin placement, you're back to the 10%, but when you're in the new pin placement, that same green is now a 50% adjustment. I'd be curious to see how it works. Hole number two. My notes say Kingfisher Navigator. Kingfisher Navigator. Any bag of work. Kingfisher Nav. You could bring out one of the 0 power. I want to get my adjustment to the cup right before I burn. I want to burn those balls in the weekend round. Those are weekend round balls. I want to save those for the good stuff. Okay, I tried a 1-to-1 plus 1, or 1-to-1 and hit it perfect and it was right off. I'm going to try 1-to-1 plus 1. Or maybe I haven't hit it in here perfect yet, one of the two. But I'm going to try a 1-to-1 plus 1. If I hit it great to the right, I might have a better opportunity for hole in one on great to the right and a perfect. But if I hit it great to the left, it's not going in. And it seemed like earlier in my 77 account I did it, but I was using a Hornet. The yardage is a little bit different, but I didn't actually put any spin on it at all. Now, if you're hitting to the green and you're trying to do what my opponent is doing here, your elevation should be different. If you brought it a 0 power ball, you could give yourself a little bit of room on the red line there. And I will tell you that I would use all that backspin, because a maxed out Saturn's got 92 backspin, and you go, wow, 92. It's really close to 100. It is a mile away from 100. When you get into that last 99, 100%, like that tail where it gets the suck back and it really sucks it back, that usually, like, they got a little bit of suck back right there, but the difference between 92 and 100 is a bunch. I mean, you can really get it to suck back if you do 100. Which in that situation, you'd have to bring out a Kingfisher, or not a Kingfisher, but a, what is it? It's an Epic Club up there at the top, a Grim Reaper. Okay, breaking right at the cup. I'm doing 4-5 plus 1, 4-6. If I can see my ring set here. Get lined up with the wind. Okay, there's 4-6. And see, you're way the hell downhill. This should be like a plus 50. Hitting it perfect. And it broke off the cup just a titch, and that was plus 0.1. So if I did a 10%, my Kingfisher hits 1.1 at max. So 10% with those would balance each other out, so it's 1.1. So I've already got 10% built into the shot because I'm at mid club. Well, I am probably eking towards max. So let me just do it. I am going to do the 10%. And we'll avoid the plus 0.1. We'll just do a 10% and see what a 10% looks like at max club. And I actually, it's 1-to-1, so I was doing my Kingfisher right. 1-to-1. So I'm going to hit it at max club. Well, I mean, that would be the deal. So if I need to add on another 10%. So let's do the math here. So if I did 10% and it's 1.1 at max, those balance each other out. And if I did 20%, 1.2 times, let's just say we had a 3 wind, divided by 1.1, that would be 3.27 as opposed to 3. That's 2.7 rings. And that's definitely going to get me closer. Whether or not that, because when it rolls down the hill, it starts to break a little bit. If you hit the right part of the hill, it'll kind of come off straight. And if you're on one side, if you're on the left side, it'll break harder to the left. So I'm going to make on my notes here, hit it 1.1 plus 20%. scratch out the 1-to-1. So I'll make an adjustment there. We got a great opportunity to get a hole-in-one on that hole. And so, but you do not want to be long. If you're making that shot and you're having to put a lot of spin on it, you could take the risk, like if you brought out a bigger backspin club than my opponent and you had that particular ball that's got even more backspin than 98 or 99, which is big, then you could actually suck yourself off the front and roll off the front. And you do not want to start rolling on this green, because you can be in some bad spots. Hole number 3. Hole number 3. Da-na-na-na. All right, which way's the wind blowing? It seemed like we had some headwind. We do have a little bit of headwind. So you have two choices here. Choice number 1 is you bring out just a 5 power ball and you don't need the top spin boost, and your last bounce is going to be in here and you just rough bump it out. And from this area you got a Goliath coming in. I did find in my Proxy account I was in the right spot right here. I got to that spot with a Titan. So if you've got any kind of tailwind, you can get out there with a Titan. You don't have to bring out a 5 power ball. But a 5 power ball, you really, if you... A 5 power ball make it easier. You won't have to do overpower. You could make it more consistent. 4 power ball might be on non-headwind days, and on headwind days, if you wanted to do the rough bump and come out, you could use a 5 power ball, and you might be able to get it done consistently with a 3, but bring a 3 side spin ball plus, because the drive up here with the Goliath, the way that the hole is, you can't get it back around to the cup with a 2 side spin ball. A 3 might work, but you definitely want to bring out, if you got more than 3, then that's even better. If you hit out to here, you're in short iron. And if you bring a Hornet, like I play with a Kingfisher here, and I've been in this spot once with a Kingfisher, and you cannot make it. Kingfisher, even maxed out's only got like 3.5 topspin. But a Hornet might be enough because of where you can get that you could get there with a Hornet. Otherwise, you'd have to bring out like a Runner, or I don't think there's very many clubs that have more topspin than a Hornet, but I know a Runner does. So the question is, do you try and get here so you can get into short iron, or do you try and stay here, which is probably easier to do, because if you got a big headwind day, even with topspin boost where it's stretching out the bounce from here to here, so with the non-topspin boost your bounce is going to be in here, but with the topspin boost you're pushing that forward, and all of a sudden you're out in the fairway. So if you do overpower on it, you're going to clear that entire thing, and you're going to run, and you can actually run too far, in my opinion, where you take yourself completely out of the rough bump. You really want to roll up into this area right here so that you can do the rough bump and go straight. You've got more options as far as the rough bump goes. Which to do? I want to try the Goliath, because I think that that's going to be a shot that you're going to have to take more often. And see if a 3 side spin or a ball that's got more than 3 side spin will help, or more than 2, I should say. And I think I have some 3 power balls. I know you can get over there with 3, because I did it earlier, but this ball right here is actually I did buy a big pack. I don't even know if I have any more of those. This ball right here, I did buy a big pack of these. I've used a lot of them, and these are awesome balls. Like when you talk about 4 power balls, this is a pretty good ball. I mean, having a 4 power precision ball is good, but only if it gets you to where you're trying to get with some other ball. But the 4 power 2 topspin boost will get you the rough bump every time. But with a 5 power ball, I don't think you'd have to do any overpower if you wanted to just do the rough bump. I'm going to bring out a 5 power ball. I'm going to bring out a Zerk. A Zerk. No, Zerk won't work. I need more than the 2 side spin. Power. Let's go. Hey, we'll use our club card trading, and we'll rank them by side spin. So I do have a 5-0 wind. Those balls come in really handy, and I don't like to run myself too low. We just actually played the hole that, like, that is a ball to have on that hole. Let's see what I have for... Yeah, those are 5 side spin. All right, I'm going to bring one of these. A 4-4-4 would be really good right here. That gives you... This is as close as I can get to it. All right. We'll select that one. These are the precision balls that I have. Man, this might be... If I can get to the right spot, this would be the ball I'd switch to, because it gives me low wind going into the cup. It gives me precision 5, but it's only got the 2 side spin, so it's not going to work. It won't work unless I change my shot. I could try and get all the way to the very end down there every single time where I don't have a rough bump, but I have a short iron into the cup, and that's actually a pretty perfect shot for my Kingfisher. But you got to do overpower every time. If you stay up there where your Goliath is at, you might not have to do overpower with a 5 power ball. I'm gonna have to use one of these. I'm gonna have to use it and try and not really worry about using the top spin to get all the way up there. I'm gonna do the rough bump, even though I could take the forward shot, because I want to see if 3 side spin will make that Goliath shot come into play, so that at least I know. And then I can try and hit in the opening round. I can try and go straight forward as far as I can and see if I can actually break to the point out there where I've got a clear shot with my Kingfisher, like what my shot is down there. The thing about the Kingfisher shot is, let's look at the green. Maybe I can explain it if we look at it. The thing about the shot here is, while it's a long rough bump, if you're trying to start off in front of it, you got to use quite a bit of backspin. More backspin than I usually like to come out a hole like this with my short iron. And with my short iron, I typically want to use like 1 or 2 backspin. I want to be able to get right up in there and just use a little bit of spin and let the ball hit the ground, and it doesn't have a lot of jerk to it. It doesn't have any side spin. It doesn't have a lot of spin back or any of that, and it hits the ground and floats until its second bounce and then releases and just rolls forward. So it kind of lost all of its big forward momentum, and now it's just dribbling to the end and rolling out. And it's hard to do when you're here. You really want to be over here so that you have a clear shot and you can open up this. So like if you were in here, you've only got this much distance to the cup. But if you came over here to give yourself a little bit more room, and we have to do this sometimes because we don't have a club that has enough backspin, so you'll move it one way or the other to clear. I suppose you could clear over here. That might be a better way, but not from over here. And then you really got to have side spin. You got to do it from this spot. If you were back here, you'd have this shot going at it. But this gives you more room to run at it. So if you want to keep that straight and not have to use a lot of spin on it, where you can hit right here and you can try and get the run to the cup, then you need to be on this plane with 0 side spin. So if you were a little bit further, now you're really, this is your target area. So each one of these areas is going to provide you a different shot, and it'll affect, like the shot that you have here is going to be different from this spot because now you got to use more backspin. But you have opened up the rough bump. And the rough bump area, if you draw the lines for that, like here's the rough bump, like really to be square on it, you know, this is your primary lane if you're going in this direction. So this is the range that you want your ball in. If you're back in here, where I'm going to end up if you just do a rough bump, your shot, you can come at the tip, but you got to have a bunch of right hand or left hand side spin in order to bring it back to the cup. If I could pick up a little bit more distance and end up in this area, I wouldn't need the spin. So if I brought out a ball and I think if you wanted to get over that far into it, you'd have to use overpower and land on this side and then try and woe it up. And the whole deal is you got to use all your topspin to bridge this gap. So in order to bridge the gap that's in here to get over to this side, you have to put the topspin. You need topspin boost in order to get this bounce stretched out enough where it's actually touching this fairway. So you're not going to be able to woe up. You're going to get whatever you get, whether that be somewhere in this zone, or if you really had the right ball or caught the right wind and used the wind, you might be able to end up down here. I think if you were trying to get over, this is probably going to be your typical landing zone. So you've got the rough bump, and this is a good angle. So if you were in this spot using your short iron, you wouldn't necessarily need a ball that had a lot of spin because you're going straight at it. Whereas if you're down here and you're coming at this angle, in order to get up into this spot where you're close enough to actually get there, you don't have enough spin to bring it back around. This would be a good area for me. I need to get more distance. All right, here we go. I'll tell you, watching my videos, what's different is that most people are watching their videos and they got all this shit worked out because they played 7 accounts and they played 16 practice holes and then bitched about the fact that they had to wait for an opponent on all 16 and that they should have just been able to go out there and play by themselves, which is bullshit. We should never play by ourselves, and every time we play somebody, we should have an opportunity to win a chest, because I guarantee whatever it is, you paid for it. You bought it with a practice token, you played it with with gems, whatever the deal is, you paid for it. You should get something. All right, let's select that ball. And really, let's think about spin. So the deal is that my Apocalypse doesn't have quite as much topspin as my Extra Mile. It's 10 down, and I'm a shit ton away from getting it to level 7 where it picks up more topspin, and then I'll probably never play my Extra Mile after that. I think Ball Guide still might be lacking, but I won't be playing. That's a big move. I think I need the most topspin that I can possibly get, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays. I think because I always feel like my Apocalypse, even at that, might be able to hit farther. Let me make sure I got a bag with a Goliath. I got an APOC with a Goliath. Got an Extra Mile with a Goliath. Let's put a Goliath in this bag. And if I get into the right spot down there at the bottom, I'm not going to be able to use my Kingfisher. So I'm going to have to use a Hornet because I need that 80 topspin. And as far as topspin goes, we got more in an Apache, that might be the way to go because 3.5 Ball Guide, 3.7, 82. This one's 90. So it hits more as far as lengthwise. So you're going to be in the same part of your club as you would if you were using a Hornet. If you play a Kingfisher all the time, the runner's pretty close to it. It's a low hitting 82 versus the Kingfisher at 83. So the runner's going to give you more of a feel as far as like where you're at in your club. So I suppose for me I should use a runner. But I think my Hornet actually with 80 will work, and if it does, then I'm going to stick with that. Let me make sure I have an Extra Mile bag in case the Extra Mile was the one. Extra Mile Hornet. All right, let's start with the Extra Mile. There's one of these par 5s that you have to get an Albion. That's just minimum score. Shit. I mean, it's minimum score for so many people in the bracket that if you're not one of those people, you just lost. Like no matter how well you play on the rest of the holes, that's a big deal. Especially if you can't pick it up at least once in the round. I mean, you're 2 strokes down on anybody else who even picked up a shot. We got great opportunities to get Albies on these other holes, and I want to have several different options available to me and see which one I like the best. So I'm pretty dead center in the fairway there. Let me see if I don't do any overpower what that looks like. Yeah, I think I might be able to get up there at that. No overpower, but I'm right at the red line. 3-5. 3-5. Yeah. That was a little bit of an overpull. Hit one ring great to the right, and that shouldn't really affect me. It's either going to make it out or it's not, and it is. When I hit the rough, and I missed the rough, and just rolled forward. And that was with no OP. Let's see where that puts me. Because I think that's actually the spot that I really wanted to get to, that middle spot. I think it'll be easier to get there. I mean, there will be days that you could get all the way to the tip, but if we were on a headwind day, we're not going to get that far. So that means we're going to have to change. Our shot's going to be so drastically changed, we'll have to do a different shot. So I'd like to be where the shot's going to be the same no matter which way the wind's blowing. And I think that spot right there is going to do pretty good because I missed it and rolled that far forward. But if I would have not bridged that gap, and I could have put the wind back in. So on days like today, you'd have to watch though on your second bounce to make sure that you're not, you got room. Let's see if it's got enough topspin. Oh, it barely has enough with a topspin boost ball. It seemed like I was doing +1. I was just doing 1-to-1 +1. I mean, you're pretty damn flat to the cup. Let me set that up so I'm exactly 3 rings off. 3.1 +1. I'm going to do 3-2. And I could have woed that up a little. 3-2. I'm probably going to go whiffing past the hole. But I want to see if I got it right, that trajectory is right. did the plus point. I did. That was the wind +1. All right. I actually needed to take a little bit off from right there. I needed to do no adjustment, just a 1-to-1 and aim to the, I think I aimed on the, I was right out the flagpole. But you could start off on the right-hand side of the cup. I like to keep my shots. There are some holes where you gotta kind of offset them because the course, like, it's just how the course rolls out. But I like to at some point in my shot setup aim directly to the cup and have the shot set up exactly like it needs to go if there was no wind and I just hit it perfect. And then make my wind adjustment. That's what's funny to me, is I see a lot of people set up shots and I don't even know what shot they were trying to get because they never had the spin right. They moved the ball and then changed the spin. It's my opponent's turn. Just out of safety, I grabbed the screen. I grabbed their ball. I was trying to make a miss. That's why I miss so many putts. I always think it's my opponent, and I'm just trying to miss a putt for him. Hole number 4. All right, we got a great opportunity on hole number 4. All these holes, we have great opportunities. This is a freaking... This, of all of the holes, though, I think this is the hardest. And I have had hole-in-ones on this. I mean, over the years, I could probably account for a few hole-in-ones on this hole, like 5 or 6. Not a lot, but 5 or 6 hole-in-ones on this hole. And I've played it like 100 times. So I'm a 5% shooter on this, so I wouldn't count this as a big hole-in-one type hole. And since it's been changed, I think I've only gotten 1. So, because it's definitely tougher now with where the ball is. And I've got on my notes to try 20%. I'm working my way up. So I'm going to take a sniper. That's all I need. A sniper and a navigator. Sniper. And a navigator. All right, we're ready. Play. I got to remember that this is my qualifying round, so I'm trying to tighten my notes up. This is just hey, we got to play today. This is the whole thing about, like, in real golf. You got a couple days to walk the course, hit a couple shots. You didn't get a practice round where you could go play every hole. You got to walk the course. You got to look at the course with your caddy and go, hey, this hill right here is, or this spot is, I'm doing plus 20 times 4.3. 5.16 rings, and I'm not at max. I'm at min, but I'm pulling max. I like the blue ring off. I think it's 4 backspin. I'm going to aim towards the right-hand edge of the cup. 4.3, 5.16 rings. There's 5. 1.6. Hitting it perfect. That was a 20% adjustment. Aiming at the right hand, so I overpull. That's cool though. I overpulled it. I tried a 15. I'm gonna do 17.5. That hole is iffy. It seemed like the last time we played it, we'd been dicking around on it all week long, and there was like I split the difference between the two, or did some weird thing, and all of a sudden, bam! I synced in the weekend round. The last time I played that hole, I got a hole-in-one on it. We'll see if we can repeat that this week. I could probably go back and find that video and watch it and see what I shot. You could go find it. You could go find out what was the last tournament this was in, and then look for content of that video. I need to shoot some of these. I need to shoot some, like the weekend round, the opening round and the weekend round. and this like qualifying round here. But like when I'm posting videos up to this point, I need to go back to my old method where I shot each hole individually. So if you were just looking for help on hole number 6, you could just go look at hole number 6. That's the hole you were looking at, and you could really play that hole as opposed to having to watch the whole video. I think I'm going to start doing that. I think I'm on the days where we do scouting report or we're doing that type of stuff that's content for during the practice session, then it's all one hole at a time. And then during the rounds where we can't practice anymore, well, we still can, but I'm just wondering, this is the question. If you had to practice during the week, and this would promote people. So like if you had, let's say, take rookie as an example. If you had one of the courses was in, you had two. If it was just one course, it's just one course. We have that one course throughout. But on weeks like this where we have multiple courses, it would almost be nice on weeks that you have multiple courses. You can only practice the holes that are in your local area, and then you're flying to Vegas and you don't normally get to play those holes, and you got to play 6 of the holes on Yongsang and 3 of the holes on Nahimi or whatever the deal. So the Nahimi holes, you've played those before. You got a bunch of notes on those. But the Yongsangs, you're getting that experience of having to go play them. The guys that are playing higher divisions have played those holes, or they may have access where they can go practice both holes. They usually, if you didn't have holes available in your so they'd put it down in rookie, and they'd make sure that the brackets had access to it. How many people would actually play during the week? How many more people, how much as far as community-wise, like health of the game, like the health of the game, not just like individually. But if the health of the game is that the community, through the way, because now we're going to start playing golf again, and we play tournaments, and we play golf so we can get good at playing tournaments. We don't just play tournaments, we go out and play. And go out and play, and how much balls we spend, and how much we're gonna, because we still want to practice on Saturday and Sunday. So you can bet your ass that on that particular weekend when practice is open for the tournament, it's you gotta practice. So people that are going to spend a lot of practice tokens are probably going to spend a lot, but they don't get to practice before they play the hole. You got to play the hole blind. Like you could get information from your team. You got a buddy that played earlier in the day, and he says, "Man, the greens are really running fast today." Or sometimes you got to take that with a grain of salt because the conditions were different in the morning when it's wet as opposed to in the afternoon when it's dry. But you could get information. All right, I digress. Hole number 5. I love this game, but it is just a finger golf game, and for most of you, it's a finger golf game. For me, it's a stylus game. Okay, I did this the other day, and I didn't put on any overpower, and I was short of the cup. Like a pretty common landing area here is going to be up in this area. Now, if you can come down to the green, here's the green, and it comes up over this little hill, and this area right here is like right over here. There's a little bit of a hump that you got to get over. If you can get to the other side of that hump with even a little teeny bit of speed, it's going to roll all the way down and go onto the green. What you don't want it to do is where you come in and you're low of the cup, and it does exactly that, where it catches this and then it rolls down onto the green, and this green is going, like here's the back of the green, it's going at a big angle in this direction. So what'll happen is your ball will come out, and then it'll start drifting off, and it'll go down. You want to come into it where you come in high, and if it drifts down, it'll kind of pull where the cup is at, or in that area. But if it starts a downward trajectory and starts floating off, this is like you in the plane and somebody threw something at you and you missed it, and you're watching it go bye-bye, right? Because there's putts down here you can't make, and it's difficult. There's putts right here you can't make that are in the front of the screen that you cannot make. So my buddy got a hole-in-one on this the other day with a Power 4 ball. I think it was a Power 4 topspin boost. I'm going to use a Power 5 today. I think I tried a Power 4 the other day, and it wasn't big enough. I might have tried a Power 5. Let's see what my balls are as I go through the scale. I think I have these 2 topspin boost balls. I think the deal is those 4 topspin boost balls might be that's why they're selling them this week, because on that hole with 4 topspin, you can get there without doing any overpower. You can really go for hole-in-one. And I'm going to use my extra mile. I think the other day I used my Apocalypse because I normally play this hole with an Apocalypse. The reason I normally play with an Apocalypse is because I'm doing a lot of curl. I'm always trying to go to the tip way over on the right-hand side, and so that means I need to use left-hand curl to bring it back over towards the course. But I'm going to do my extra mile today because it's got more distance. I want to see if I can get towards the cup and actually just get rolled down the hill without having to do any overpower. We'll see what our options are. These balls change the whole deal, you know. Searching. I'm just wondering if day to day, if more people played and we had more activity in the game and people were out playing one-on-one and people were playing in Tour 4 because Tour 4 is where some tournament holes were for that week, and people were playing a shitload in Tour 8 and Tour 11. You know, everybody wasn't just playing the max tour up at the top. They were actually willing to, like, how many masters are willing to drop down to a lower tour to get it? And if they don't need, other than bankroll, what would be the purpose, right? You're playing up at the top, trying to, at that point, you're trying to get max trophies and you're trying to do the deal, and now you're going to go play Tour 10. Like, what's the motivation? The motivation is the tournament holes are in Tour 10, and they put them there that week because, you know, they put them in the, that way it promotes people to play. And I think, well, you know, it promotes people to play when you put the tournament holes down where every bracket can play them. People are going out and they're going to practice those holes, and they're going to catch the other holes quite a few times, so they're not going to always get the hole they're looking for, which means they're going to use up resources when they didn't even need to. Okay, topspin boost is the key here. And if I hit it from there, and how much room I got on the red line, I got none. I am right up against my red. I'm going to pull back a little so I'm orange ring off. Maybe half the orange ring. 3-3. I'm going to do 10%, so that's 3-7. If I move the ring set, there's 3-7. Oh, fucking, I hit it great to the right. I was slightly leaning to the left. Because you can have that shit right there happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not the first time I've ever been in that spot. If I hit it perfect, it goes in the hole. If I don't hit it perfect, it does not go in the hole. But you got to get an Albie on this hole. This is dropping a shot. Dropping a shot off minimum score. I like that spot, though. I didn't put much on it. I just leaned a little bit. If I put a little bit of curl on there, I could play it safe. I was trying to get really aggressive and go towards the hole. Want to see if I could. I'm in basically a practice round. I have an opportunity to go for the free condor, but in the rounds that count, I'm gonna definitely make sure that I give myself shit tons of room. So if I hit a great to the left or the right, it's not gonna matter. I'm gonna be up there. I may have a longer chip, but I may have a shorter chip. If I was my opponent from that distance and I hit it perfect, I can guarantee it would have been a lot fucking closer than that. A lot closer. I think we take 10% off times whatever the wind is. Come on. 2.9 divided by, where am I at in my club? There's max, there's mid, I'm in the 16 per ring range. I want to make sure that I'm going right there. 16. It's 0.2 of a ring. It's 1.6, but I'm going to do 2. That screwed me up more than if I'd have just taken the shot from earlier. And it breaks towards the cup, so that looks a lot closer. If there was no break right there, that grate would have been a lot farther off. But it breaks as it's going down that hill to the left. That's why I wanted to kind of start on the right hand side. It's breaking a little. I'm not sure if the -10, the -10 is like working for wind, and then that you got to account for the break on that course. All right, I like that. Like that ball right there will work. So let's see what ball that was. Let me write that on my notes. Let me write that on my notes. Now, I won't be able to play that same ball with my auto account, but that'll be the variable. Exit. Let's see what ball that was. What ball was it? Here we go. Here we go. And this is the season 61 ball. Season 61 ball. Extra mile. All right. All right. What is the ball that's for sale right now? I might have a club card trading to do as well. Let's do the club card trading and see if I can get 3 APOCs. 3. I'm only like 7 away in my auto account from getting it to level 6. And then it'll be matched up with this one, so it'll be a little bit better. Spitfire. I am working on that card. That club. I'm not working on all of my epics, so if I get 2 epics I'm not working on, I put it back in the bank. Save it for later. What are our special balls this week? A 3-2. Yeah, because there's a couple shots on here we're taking with a power 3 ball. Or we could. Hole number 1. That's if you're really going for the hole in one on that, but I don't think that ball would be worth bringing on hole number 1. Bringing a power 2 ball on hole number 7, but you could up that. You might be able to change that to a power 3 ball. I guess that's the only hole here. So, but the power 5s this week I think are usable on several holes. 5 power, 4 top spin boost. Like I think there's several holes where that combination would come in really handy. 2s but no wind. That's still an awesome ball. I can think of the hole that I usually keep 0 wind balls for. Power 5 0 wind balls for. That whole ball would work on there, and there's several other holes that would be a great ball for. I might buy a $4.99 pack. How many you get in a $4.99 pack? Is it just like 5 of each? Yeah, 5 of each. That means you can play 1 tournament hole with that. You're buying a tournament hole. You're buying two tournament holes for $5. All right, we're on hole number 6. Hole number 6. All right, we can get the one on this. And this is another one of those holes that you want to bring out a big ass ball. And the reason is that you want to make sure you're in the right spot. And I'm going to bring out, I didn't do it right the other day. I'm going to bring out a Thor's hammer in this. Thor's hammer. And I wrote down numbers for my Thor's hammer. Somewhere here. I think I brought them in. I read them on my actual notes. I did. I read them on my actual notes. Let's take the Thor's hammer, and I'm going to take a power 5 ball. I'm going to take a Zerk. Brrr. Zerker. It always gets me when people play and show like rookie content that I've watched where they're like, okay, like, you know, we're only going to play this with a power 3 ball. It's like, I wasn't aware that you had to be a certain age or you had to have so many hours logged into the game or whatever before you could buy ball packs. Everybody can buy ball packs, and the reality is that some people out there buy lots of ball packs. They've got hundreds of them. They buy a $100 pack every time it comes out. And I'm not just talking about the people at the top. The people at the top have to buy a $100 packet every time a packet comes out. And I don't think I like it as well. But I'm going to pull back a little so that I'm 1 ring off of that. And then let's see what kind of spin I need to put on it. And then 4.8, 1.2 times 4.8 divided by 1.6, 3.6 rings. Hitting it perfect. What I didn't like about that is you can see I hit farther forward than I needed to add on. I added on 20%. So it's 20% times the wind, which is 4.8 divided by 1.6 per ring. I was definitely at max club. With the APOC, that little bit of extra distance that it hits, you could actually center up in the middle of there, and you have like 2 solid rings behind you. So, or 3 solid rings behind you. And so you could pull back like a ring and a half from unless you had absolutely due headwind. If it was, even heavy side wind from the left, you might be able to pull it out because of the angle. It gets you a little bit more distance. But you had a couple solid rings to move. But with the Thor's hammer on headwind days, I only have a ring. So that means I'd have to get the wind down to 1.6, and I think that ball is a 0 wind. So you'll have to put overpower on it, or come at it from the side more so it opens up, but then you need side spin. But I did like that ball guide, I can tell you that right now. So I think I'm going to stick with the Thor's hammer, just because, that's the whole reason I'm trying to bring the Thor's hammer out here, is because it's got sniper ball guide. See if I can get down in it. But we have to remember the goal. The goal on this hole is eagle. That's the goal on this hole. Okay? Going for hole-in-one is all fine and dandy, but the whole goal is to get a freaking eagle. And actually my notes say plus 30 and I did a plus 20, so I'm going to go with my notes. I winged it. I didn't look at my notes, but I was like, I think I'm doing a plus 20 on this. My notes say plus 30 and I did a 20, and I missed because I didn't pull enough. There you go. If I'd have did plus 30 instead of 3.6 rings, it would have been 3.9. Probably should add on plus 0.1 if I'm hitting from that. Plus 0.1. The 4 looks really good. I'll have to go back and watch the video and see how much spin I put on, but I don't think I put on much. I actually think I was able to put on a couple backspin. It felt like I had put on a couple backspin from where I was, and I probably could have put on like maybe whatever I put on and a sliver more to try and make sure that I'm like right at the cub. I think I went past it but not. I didn't shoot past it, but I did go by it faster than I'd like. Hole number 7. Hole number 7. Okay, we need a Goliath on this, and I will tell you, in my odd account, I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I got behind in time, and by the time I pulled around and actually take shot, there was like 1 second left. So I had to snap it off on the first time by, and I wasn't prepared for that because I didn't realize I was behind until the last second. Because I didn't get down to the point, like when I pull down like that, I catch in the corner whether it's flashing red or not, and it was flashing red. And it looked like it had been for a while. And I hit 3 rings. I hit good to the right, and it missed, but it ended up in the sand. And I ended up missing this. I think I ended up making this, but I did get on the green, but I was way the hell off. So don't hit good. Don't hit good. I'm bringing whatever bag's got a Goliath in it, and a katana. A katana. Katana. And I need the Goliath. Goliath. And my Goliath hits. I got good, solid numbers for my Goliath. I'm at mid club and it's 2.2 per ring. 6 top spin, 1 right hand side spin. I'm still working out the wind, so I'm trying 15% times whatever the wind is. 2 divided by 2.2. Okay, so I got my equation worked out. I got my clubs picked. All I got to do is put on 6 top spin and 1 right hand side spin. And hit perfect. Adjust out the wind. You gotta do all that shit and then you don't hit perfect. Fuck. That's why a not perfect is. I just did a bunch of work to get there and then I didn't hit perfect. 3G goes first. What up, 3G? See if they hit. I was sitting here just daydreaming along, just watching my opponent play. He hit perfect. I wasn't paying attention to what they were doing. It's one of the reasons why it's so important to record your own video, because there's a lot of times where you're doing just what I'm doing. You're just kind of watching the play go, and you're not really paying attention or doing the thing, and you're daydreaming along, and you're only thinking when it's your turn and your opponent. Okay, 1 right hand side spin. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 right hand side spin. 3, 1.56. One, 5, 6. 1.56. Oh, fucking, and I hit it great. See, this is exactly what I was talking about. And I knew I hit that great as soon as I hit it, because it said great. It felt like it was going to slide into perfect, though, to be honest with you. You can't judge anything on these holes because you're hitting deeper into the rough on a great to the right, and so it's fatter out there. So it's not going to roll out the same as if you hit it perfect. And then this particular hole, you hit it great to the left. I think that's closer to the tip, so it should run out even faster. Here we go. All right, hole number 7 in the book. I've been in the right spot twice now, and I haven't hit it perfect yet. I think I hit a great to the right, left last time, and a great to the right this time. All I have in my notes on this is an extra mile and a 5 power ball, and I don't have any notes yet for the second shot, but I'm 100% positive that it's plus 10 to the cup, and I'm pretty sure it's with a rapier. And it should be mid club. I think it's mid. It's 2.4 per ring. I'm going to play this. Which way's the wind blowing today? I'm going to play this with I'm going to play this just the way that I normally play it. There are days where you could bring out a bigger ball and you could try and tighten it up and get out there in a deal, but I'm just going to play it like I normally play it, which is with this bag and a katana. I'm thinking whether I'm going to play with a katana. That's selected. It's already selected. It's like, hey, play with me. Or you can bring out a really big ball and you can get to the little pad and then you have some options. But I still don't think that the options to the left are, like, percentage-wise, how many times are you going to make it? Like, if you say, well, I'm going to make it every time, then play that shot. And the first time you don't make it, but you have to agree that the first time you don't make it, you got to quit playing that shot and never play it again. Because I don't think it's possible to get over to on the left consistently, like every time. Whereas you can get in front 95 times out of 100. And if you bring out a big enough ball, you can get up there. It's not quite perfect. You still have to hit the shot, but you're going to make it over 90% of the time if you brought out a really big ball. Or you can do this shot. And my opponent's pinching it up on the, well, the wind's going to take effect. Let's see. Okay, my opponent's trying to prove me wrong. And they hit it 3 rings great on the left. And they made it. Good job. And you can see how much shit they went through, and you tell me you can get through that shit consistently. I'm glad they did it, and I'm glad, and I'm glad they made it. But I'm just saying, that's not a high percentage shot. You see that tree, and I'm ricocheting off? I'm going to go until I ricochet off the other side. And then I'm taking out 10%, so basically 5. So I'm going to do 2.5 rings, which is even more than that. I'm going to do max curl. And I hit it 1 ring great to the right. And the 1 ring great to the right got me caught up in the rough. You could pinch it on the other side, and I had the ball guide angling off to the right, and I could have put it so that it was dead center in the middle of that tree. If you've got a lower developed extra mile that doesn't have as much curl as a level 9, you can aim to the left-hand edge of the tree because you won't have enough curl to get you around that bend, and it'll put you right on that where you can bleed out. The risk is if you hit too great to the left, you'll miss that and can bounce over. But if you hit it to the right like I did, you'll end up in that rough area. There's max, there's mid, there's quarter. So in like the 8 per ring range. So it's 0.9 times 3.1 divided by 8. It's 3/4 of a ring. Three-quarters of a ring. And I just need to hit it perfect. And hit 1 ring great to the right. I didn't have enough legs on it. That's surprising. Surprising. If the hole would have been a square, it would have fallen in the hole. Close. Close. All right, hole number 9. I'm assuming you got to get at least a 14 to get in. You really need to look at 15 as being your minimum score. So 30 is your minimum score. There's 3 holes there you got to get. You got to get the Albie and you got to get the first 2 par 4s. That par 4 right there is very makeable, but there's 3 shots they're giving us. So you got to make those 3. You got to get an Albie on hole number 5, I think it is, every time. 5 or 6, whatever hole that is. Every time. And plus those other 2 par 4s, so that's minus 15. And so then you're trying to pick up shots on top of that. And that hole right there is a great opportunity to do that. And I will not change that shot because consistently, overall, I'm going to be out in the fairway. I set that up purposely on the right just a little bit. And everything would have been good if I hadn't hit it great to the right. Hit perfect, bitch. Hole number 9. Let me look at hole number 9. Let me make sure I have the right shit in my bag for hole number 9. My notes say APOC. 5 power ball, try a Hornet, maybe a runner. Hole number 9. Now, if you play with the 5 power ball, I played this earlier and I was able to get over here. I think even in my auto account I used a 5 power ball. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe a 3 power ball got me over there, but with a bigger power ball, you can try and get, like, I wanted to get right into this area so that I could do a rough bump. I'm not so sure, just trying to get right there and doing that rough bump. The deal with coming over here is this rough area up here. Let me zoom in on it. Maybe it'll show it in the picture. It doesn't do it really big justice. But this rough area, if you're coming in at it from this side where I was talking about laying it up as opposed to coming in from this side, somewhere right in this neighborhood right here, this stuff is all rolling down all the way around. And then here it's starting to get flat, where it's picking up the thing, and then it's curving around this bend, and it's kind of flat. There's a flat area. And then as it comes around, it's fairly flat in this area, and then it starts to do the curve again and goes down. But we're in that crotch area right there, and it flattens out. And so depending on what angle you're coming in at it, you may have to put on more spin. It's one of those things, if you hit it great to the right, you could miss the rough. So you want to be far enough back in the rough, like 2 or 3 rings back in the rough, so that if you hit it great to the other side, to the right side, it still hits in the rough. Let me try this with let me try it with an APOC. And I'm going to start off, I want a sniper. And a Kingfisher, if I get into short iron range, does not have enough topspin, so I have to once again use a Hornet. Try a Hornet. I'm going to try a Hornet, and if a Hornet doesn't have enough, then I'll have to switch to a runner. But I'm not sure that I'll get in my Hornet. I may. Continue. Hole number 9. Let's switch the ball up. Let's think about ball here. I'm going to bring... What could I possibly bring here? I'm going to start off with just a Kingmaker. See what the 3 side spin does. Have a normal Kingmaker, or all I have left are the... I've spent a bunch of those major ones. Just, I was like, why am I buying Kingmakers when I have like a bunch of them? Let's see if that will work. And if that doesn't, I'm going to switch to an APOC or a Berserker. And I don't really want to use a Berserker. I really want to use a 5 power ball that's got more side spin on it. It might help me on the second shot. I think a Berserker's got what? 1 side spin? I think it's 2 wind. Okay, what do they got? They got a 5 power ball, 2 side spin, 5 wind. Yeah, see, with a 5 power ball, you can get right. With a 3 power ball, I think you're bouncing over. You got to use a 5 power ball. Now, you could try and go for it and try and get up into this area up here and try and bounce over that sand. There's a lot of shit going on up there. And it's difficult to get in between these 2 sand traps that are right in front of you and that next sand trap. Like, that's a technical shot, but that's doable. But trying to get over that next sand trap and then into the spot before you get to the next sand trap, that's even worse. Okay? Because they're trying to press the limit, and they made it. That's as far as they could have got. That is like the shot they're setting up, that is every inch of it. So let's look at their shot when they're taking it and see like how good that looks. 5 power. I'm going to bring this ball right here because I want to see what kind of side spin I would need to do that shot, and it's got every bit of what I need. I pulled back to where I was 3 rings off. I'm going to put on 2 top spin. 4-4. I'm going to do 20%, so that's 0.8. That's 5-2. There's 4-5. There's 5-2. Hitting it perfect. 4.2 times 1.2 divided by 1.5, 3.36 rings. Now, I think for the rough bump, being back a little bit, like we'll see what, because see, you can see they might actually, that might be, you might have to get as close because you can see where it flattens out. I would, if you were doing the rough bump, you could pull back and you can see the humps that are in there being like in the bottom of one of those bowls. If you hit in the bottom of a bowl, it bounces out like it's supposed to if it was flat ground. But if you hit on any edge of the bowl, then your trajectory gets thrown off just because the first angle that it hit when it hit the course was rolling at the high side was the left, and it's going to want to go to the left. And I'm trying to plus 20 to the cup. 1.2 times whatever the wind is. There's Max Hornet. There's min. There's mid. Man, I'm eking towards mid. Mid Hornet is 1.3 per ring. Let's hope I got enough topspin. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. I do. I got just enough. Six divided by 1.3, 5.32 rings. 5.5. There's 3, 4, 5, 5. Hitting it perfect. Ooh, and I just slightly over pulled it. I was doing, the last time I was here I did a 10 and I just upped it to 20 and I just slightly over pulled it, but I think 15 wouldn't have been enough. So it's like 15 plus 0.1 or 20 minus 0.2. I like to get it where it's just a number, where we don't have to add on. And the deal is that if you do hand math, you can do 12 and a half, you can do 13, you can go 12 and a half ain't working, I'm having to add on 1 and see what that changes the number, and just go, hey, I'm going to do a 14%. You have to keep better notes than I keep. All right, there you have it, 14. That should qualify me, and obviously we're looking for a minimum of 15, and there's at least one of the other ones I think we should be able to get at least on one side. There's the other par 4, and there's holes that we have great opportunities to get up there and get one in that, like, you should almost get it every round, but it's not quite that good. And so that means that we're coming into it with, if you double that up, you're coming into it with a 30 plus the 1, you're coming in with a 31. So this is really what our absolute minimum score needs to be. And then anything we can get above that, then we're starting to put ourselves in a much better spot. But I'm not going to be surprised this week if we, I mean, I'm sure that we've already seen 36s, 38s, 40s where people are getting every hole. Every hole. All right, there you have it. Thanks for watching. That was long. Shit, how long was that? That was an hour and 12 minutes. That was because I was gone and I was making you guys feel the pain as much as I did. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I will catch you tomorrow in the opening round. Thanks for watching. Now, let me look at that. Am I going to qualify? I figured that might be up a little bit higher. That might not qualify at a 14. How many people have played? We still got a couple. And we still got 5 people to play. They're definitely at 14, so 14s are going to make it. How many people? 14 start at 8, and there's... it might make it. It might not. Especially if somebody comes out and pops out a 17, it's going to kick all... is it going to kick everybody in 14 out? It might. Thanks for watching. Now it'll put us at 9th.